Those were the headlines. Our top focus amid curfew in Imphal, a mob has reportedly clashed with security forces near Manipur CM Biren Singh's ancestral home. After reports stated that there was an attempted attack on CM Biren Singh's family house, Manipur police have now denied these reports. I have my colleague Ratnadeep joining us on the broadcast. Ratnadeep, take us through the latest coming in.
What we are picking up from police sources is that there was a pitched battle between protesters and security forces in Hengang, which is the constituency of Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, which is just on the outskirts of state capital Imphal. Now, the place where this pitched battle took place and police had resorted to firing of tear gas shell and use of force to disperse the crowd is not very far from the personal residence of the Chief Minister. However, he does not stay there. He stays at the official residence, which is the Chief Minister's bungalow. So this incident has taken place, and in fact, in several areas of state capital Imphal, there have been protests today throughout the day. Particularly in the evening, there have been also reports of pitched battles between the security forces and protesters. In fact, the civil society groups have criticized the way security forces for the past 2 days have handled the student protests. Several students have got injured. There are students who have been, injured with pellet gun wounds as well. And in use of pellet gun is something which has been highly criticized. In fact, Manipur police has, in a tweet said that they have done a review meeting with the other central forces in terms of the attack, in terms of how the protests of the students would be handled.
Right, Ratnadeep. Thank you for joining us to bring us those updates. Now, as students protested in Manipur's capital, Imphal, over the killing of 2 teenagers by an armed group, there was relative calm amid a curfew, but controversy as well. Some injured protesters alleged that pellet guns were used on them by the Manipur police and security forces. However, the police claim minimal force was used and it was the protesters who actually used dangerous weapons. Here's a report.
A curfew and a day of relative calm in Imphal. 24 hours after this violent protest on the streets of Manipur's capital over the killing of 2 teenagers allegedly by an armed group. But there is controversy and anger over the alleged use of pellet guns to control the protests on Wednesday. This 17-year-old class 12 student was one of the protesters injured in the police action.
तान बहुरागा मुझे लेर खुलक चंग बहुरे अदुदगी आइजे युम कारम द लोट पनेबा अदुदा मखोन मवाजे ताद्रे आइजे थोगेना थोलकपदा आरियबसे मा चेंजलागा योंदा मायुक नबने बाइनसे अदुगा मान नम कपम्बा.
On the table, on a OT table, we have found there are so many muscles which contribute for shoulder function that has been severely damaged. There are almost around 90 pellets were there, because these are very small pellets, 1 mm, some are less than 1 mm, some are 2 mm pellets.
In a statement, the Manipur police said minimal force was used, claiming instead that miscreants in the crowd used iron pieces and stones against security forces. All of this is playing out as the Manipur government struggles to contain the fallout of ethnic clashes in the state that have killed over 170 people since May. A top IPS officer, the police chief of Srinagar, is being prematurely sent back to his parent Manipur cadre by the Home Ministry. The latest effort to bring the situation in Manipur under control. With BM Sanzu and Ratnadeep Chaudhary, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Now in Madhya Pradesh, horrifying visuals from Ujjain which show a 15-year-old girl semi-naked and bleeding after rape, going door-to-door begging for help, have sparked outrage across the country. 72 hours later, the first arrest has been made in the case. Police arrest the accused, an auto driver named Bharat Soni, and were taking him to recreate the crime scene, at which point he attempted to escape. The police have also said that a case will be filed against another auto driver who was named earlier for not informing the police about the incident. What's shocking is that the girl had taken 4 autos and not one of them reported the incident. Here's a report.
The first arrest after over 72 hours of the rape horror in Madhya Pradesh is Ujjain.
24 को सतना से चली है, 25 को यह घटनाक्रम हुआ है जो लगभग 4 से 5 घंटे के अंतराल का उज्जैन में होने का है. तो बंधक वो ऐसा नहीं है काफी दिनों से थी, ये कहना गलत होगा। इसमें जब घटनास्थल को रिक्रिएट करने हम लोग जा रहे थे तो उसमें भागने का प्रयास किया, जिसमें वो चोटिल हुआ। जिसके ऑटो में खून के धब्बे मिले थे उसके ऊपर नॉन रिपोर्टिंग के लिए FIR दर्ज की गई है। जो हमारा आरोपी है वो अलग है।
This breakthrough comes after an ordeal that saw the 15-year-old girl walking for 8 kilometers, no help, then being rebuffed by onlookers. 5 specialized police teams were hunting for the accused. Fresh information suggests the girl is from a district in MP itself that's 700 kilometers away from Ujjain. On Wednesday, Ujjain Police Chief Sachin Sharma said that the girl was not being able to tell her name and address. He had said her accent suggested she is from Uttar Pradesh. The FIR, however, mentioned her name and her father's name. A senior police official now has told NDTV that the girl studies in class 8th and stays with her grandfather and elder brother. She had gone missing on Sunday and the family registered a complaint on the very same day. New CCTV footage that has emerged during the police probe shows the girl walking near Ujjain. In one set of footage, timed at 3 a.m., she appears to be in a school uniform, but hours later she is spotted by CCTVs semi-naked and bleeding, suggesting that the crime happened early on Monday morning. When asked about these shocking visuals where a man is seen shooing away the teen on CCTV, when the girl was half naked and bleeding and needed medical attention, Ujjain's police chief, a senior IPS officer, claimed some people did help her financially.
बच्ची के पास जब हमें वो मिली है तो उसके पास जो 120 रुपए थे वो उन्हीं जो मोहल्ले के रहने वाले थे उन्हीं लोगों के द्वारा दिए गए।
लहूलुहान होकर घूम रही थी, कम से कम उसको ले जाकर अस्पताल पहुंचाया जाना चाहिए था, पुलिस को खबर करनी चाहिए थी। इस तरह कोई काम नहीं किया गया, इससे हमें बहुत तकलीफ और पीड़ा होती है।
The only person who actually helped was Acharya Rahul Sharma, a local priest who was stepping out of his ashram when he spotted the girl.
मैंने जैसे ही देखा कि बालिका नीचे से वस्त्र विहीन है, ऊपरी वस्त्र धारण कर रखा, नीचे कोई वस्त्र नहीं है, मैंने तुरंत ही उस जो आप लोग वीडियो में देख रहे हैं, यह वस्त्र मैंने धारण कर रखा था, ऊपरी वस्त्र तुरंत निकाल कर उस बालिका को दिया। इनमें मुझे विश्वास दिला रहा था कि तुम यहाँ बिल्कुल सुरक्षित हो बेटा, यहाँ किसी प्रकार का भय आपको नहीं है।
Police say the girl is now stable but has received severe injuries from the assault. With Lalit, Gyan Shukla and camera person Rizwan Khan, Anurag Dwari for NDTV.
It's an auto driver who is her perpetrator. She moves around and there is a distance that she has traveled. Could you give us, what do we know about the auto where the blood stains were found? Is the auto driver also an accused?
I would like to tell you that the incident or the crime that had happened, the duration of this was around between 3 to 2:30 to around 6:50. So we were narrowing down on all the possible suspects who could have come in touch with the victim. So they were just not one. They were like she had taken 4 auto rickshaws and then she was in touch with 2 bystanders also who were there on the station and talking to her. So the person's auto in which blood was found was actually the person after the offense had happened. So the person who's the main accused is just prior to the person who had at around between the time of incident whom we have arrested is in our custody.
पकड़ने में वो घायल भी हुआ है, उसको कठोरतम दंड दिया जाएगा। हम कसर नहीं छोड़ेंगे अपराधी को कड़ी सजा दिलाने में। मैं लगातार हर घंटे स्थिति पता कर रहा था। इस तरह के अपराधी समाज में रहने के लायक नहीं है, काबिल नहीं है। उसने मध्य प्रदेश की आत्मा को घायल किया।
Welcome back. According to a latest report, 1 in 5 Indians will be 60 years of age in 3 decades. The share of elderly population in the country is projected to double. My colleague Priyanshi takes us through the details of the report.
India is growing old, quite literally.
India will have more elderly people than children by the year 2050, according to the India Aging Report by the United Nations Population Fund. As you can see in that graph, the line graph shows that the population above 60 years of age will surpass the population of children between the age of 0 to 14 years. The share of the 60-plus population in the country's total population is projected to double to 20.8% by the year 2050. That essentially means that 1 in every 5 Indians will be a senior citizen by 2050. India's elderly population will double to 347 million, or 20.8% of the total population, from 149 million in the year 2022. And that's not it. The older population is set to grow even further. By the end of this century, senior citizens are projected to make up 36% of our country's population. Now, this will happen as the elderly population is growing at a much faster rate than the overall population. From the year 2022 to 2050, the overall population is set to grow by 18%, while the 60-plus population is projected to grow by a whopping 134%. With this, the report says that undoubtedly the relatively young India today will turn into a rapidly aging society in the coming decades as the older population is growing, while the younger population in the 15 to 59 years age group is falling. And interestingly, a distinguishing feature of India is that the elderly population's share varies across states. For example, Kerala has the highest elderly population share of 16%, followed by Tamil Nadu at 14%, as these states have controlled their fertility rates. While on the other side, northern states such as Bihar and Uttar Pradesh have the lowest share of just about 8%, as their fertility rates are still high, meaning they still have a higher population of children. Now, what does this mean for India's future? The report calls this an unprecedented rise in the elderly population and says that this will impact health, economy, and the Indian society at large. Senior citizens are largely dependent and they have serious ailments, so specific social welfare and health schemes will be needed for them. The need for such schemes is highlighted by the fact that 18.7% of senior citizens in India don't have any income. Additionally, over 40% of India's elderly population falls in the poorest 25% slab, according to this report. Lastly, this forecast means that India will lose its demographic edge of a growing young and working population.
The father of India's green revolution is no more. Eminent agricultural scientist Dr. M.S. Swaminathan dies at the age of 98 in Chennai. Here's a report.
The father of India's green revolution no more. Born in Tamil Nadu's Kumbakolam, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan was trained as a plant geneticist. The high-yielding wheat he developed had led to a quantum jump in food production and made the country food secure. Globally, he was an acclaimed leader in sustainable food security. He was awarded the first World Food Prize in 1987. A Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan, he was also honored with the Raman Magsaysay Award. Times magazine named him one of the most influential Asians of the 20th century. In 2013, NDTV had honored him with the Greatest Global Living Legend Award.
Most of the reports now say the younger generation do not want to take agriculture because it's a very risky profession and low income and so on. But I think the future belongs to nations with grains and not guns. Guns you can purchase, but grains you cannot purchase. Thank you very much.
Contemporary farmers would also remember Dr. Swaminathan for his commission's yet-to-be implemented recommendation to fix the minimum selling price to at least 50% more than the weighted average cost of production. MS is survived by his 3 daughters, including Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, the former chief of the World Health Organization. However, Swaminathan's legacy lives on through the farmers, whose lives he changed.